Today, I see many companies struggle because they focus on the wrong things. They're so focused on what's in front of them that they fail to truly prepare and be ready for what's next. Be ready for those high stakes and defining moments and be able to seize those key opportunities. So at worst case, we fail. And at best case, sometimes we simply underperform because we are not attaining readiness in the right way. Hi, I'm Stephen Drum. I'm a retired Navy SEAL Master Chief, and I spent most of my entire 27-year career in the SEAL teams, leading at every level. My mission today is to take the experiences and lessons that I learned in my career and effectively translate and distill them down into helping organizations better lead, better prepare, and better seize opportunities in their high-stakes moments. As I approached the twilight of my 27-year military career, and I started looking ahead to what's next, it caused me to reflect back on the experiences and the lessons that I learned throughout my career. I realized that while I enjoyed all of my combat time, I enjoyed deploying, I enjoyed training for combat, if I was being honest with myself, my biggest impact was on training other people, whether it was SEALs, Foreign Partner Special Operations Forces, or when I helped create a program for the US Navy called Warrior Toughness. That is where I left my biggest mark on the military. And from that, today, I take those lessons and I want to effectively translate them to other organizations in the business world, nonprofit world, first responders, law enforcement. With me is my fellow SEAL sniper and about 6'8" Army soldiers on the rooftops with us who are watching our back as we provided sniper overwatch security for a friendly element that we'd be moving down the street shortly. But as we observe, we start to notice that it starts to get increasingly more quiet. We see the kids, they start to melt away, the adults, they go inside. And it starts to feel like that kind of calm before the storm where you're just waiting for some stuff to go down. And then snap, snap, crack, rounds go snapping right by my head, hitting the wall behind me. We start engaging across the street, engaging targets over there. And just then my teammate, he gets up, he dives past me and yells, "Grenade!" And boom, that thing goes off. And it rocks me. But my head was swimming, my ears were ringing. And as I started to shake it off, it occurred to me, hey, you're the team leader here. It's your job to figure out what we're doing next because we're taking heavy fire and we cannot stay here. The X that I talk about draws its inspiration from my time in the military, where the X is a military doctrine term. Think of it as X marks the spot. It is that pinpoint location of the target of the primary objective. So if we fast rope out of a helicopter onto a rooftop of a building we're assaulting, we refer to that as landing on the X. We also use it if we're patrolling down the street and the enemy ambushes us, has us in that kill zone. We refer to that as the X as well. In that case, we got to maneuver, we got to get off that X. Ultimately, that X represents what is often the most critical, often the most dangerous part of a combat operation. It's these moments, these events, these situations on the X, that is what we gear our training and preparation to. Because if we can thrive, if we can succeed when it's the most dangerous, when it's most difficult, everything else that we do happens more seamlessly, more routine, and we perform at a much higher level because of it. If we want to show up that day with our best chances for mission success, our best chances for reaching our goal, we have to show up with the right skills, with the right methods of preparation, but also the mental capacity to perform those things in the clutch when it's hard and when we feel that pressure. Back there on that rooftop, did I feel fear? Yeah. As a team leader, I didn't know exactly what choice, what decision I was going to make next. But despite that fear, beneath that was a feeling of confidence. A feeling of confidence that my teammate and I, we've been well trained, we've been well prepared, we have the skills we need to get these Army guys together, get everybody off this rooftop, and make it to the extract point safely. And that's what we did. The thing is, we all have these moments, not just professionally, but also personally. When we feel that stress, that pressure, that anxiety, and even if we don't feel those things, we recognize where opportunity exists for us. If we can just consistently bring our A game and seize those opportunities. What do those X moments look like for you? When I work with an organization, I introduce a 4-part model. This 4-part model drives the content that will prepare you and your teams to perform at the highest level. The 4-part model that I use is a reflective cycle, meaning that you're always somewhere within that cycle or that loop. And that cycle looks like this: commit, prepare, execute, and reflect. If we want to do hard things when it counts, when we're really challenged, We need to be fully committed in every aspect, in every way. The commit piece is the character part. Our values, our beliefs, and how we show up. It's our brand. It's what we present to the world. It's what we stand for. Since 9/11, the U.S. Navy SEAL teams have faced a high level of success on the battlefield, defeating our nation's enemies. The primary driving factor for our high degree of success is preparation and readiness. Part of our culture is that we will outtrain, we will outwork everybody when it comes to being ready for our defining moments on the X. We cut no corners. We do not wing it. Every contingency is thought about, practiced, and rehearsed. In business, it's the same thing. Our defining moments are moments that we have to gear our training, our preparation, our readiness to, because these most difficult, these most challenging moments for us, if we can figure out how to thrive and succeed in those moments when it's the most difficult for us, everything else that we do will happen more routine, more seamlessly, and we'll raise our game and our performance there as well. And when you get to the prepare part of the model, this is where we start talking about everything within our craft, within our day-to-day that we need to perfect. When everyone else is off chasing that shiny object, that great thing, that new thing that's gonna make our lives better, we operate from a solid foundation built on a mastery of the basics. From there, we also introduce performance psychology techniques, mental skills that an elite athlete might use before they go out for their big game. We master these techniques so that we can maintain poise and focus and engagement when the pressure's on, when the stress is on. When we come down to the execute part of the model, this is where it starts to come together. We're ready to walk out onto that X, if you will. We're ready for our high stakes moment. But before we do so, we just need to think about a few things. Before we walk into our important moment, we need to make sure that we have self and situational awareness. We are fully engaged and focused. We were able to pivot and adjust if we get thrown that curveball. But most of all, we are determined to bring value, whatever that looks like, to that moment, to that relationship, to that situation. And lastly, when it comes to reflect, our ability to grow as individuals, as teams, it largely depends on our ability to extract the value from our experiences, but do so in a way that distills those things down to lessons learned that we can apply the very next time that we need to go execute. When it comes to facing and meeting our challenges with courage, confidence, and readiness, what's required is that we look ahead. We identify what is likely, what is going to happen in terms of our events and situations that we need to be at our best, to identify those things and put ourselves in those moments, to visualize ourselves executing with confidence, poise, adaptability, agility, crushing it in that moment, and from there, building backwards, as we say in the military, getting to the left of bang, knowing what it's going to take for us to actually be prepared and ready when we show up in those moments. How do we develop the knowledge, skills, and attributes to make sure that we show up and we're ready to seize those opportunities for us? When an organization brings me in to speak, I take the approach of putting myself in the audience. How would I want to receive a message? Because when I'm in an audience, I'm listening to a speaker. In order for me to connect with them as a speaker, connect to their content, relate to them, I have to be entertained to some degree. I have to be drawn in. But those stories, they have to relate to me. Even though I've never played in the NFL or been to space or climbed Mount Everest, I have to somehow see myself in those stories. And finally, when I walk away, I need to have concrete techniques, strategies, principles that I can use immediately. And that's what I bring to an organization when I speak. My mission today is to help you, your organization, truly perform at its highest level, reach its potential, seize those defining moments, and perform at its best. I look forward to partnering with your organization and helping your leaders and teams optimize their performance on the X every time.